Welcome, everyone, to LinkedIn for Financial Advisors. Stoked to be here. I wanted to put this together because I've been in LinkedIn marketing for the past 10 years, and financial services is an industry that we've worked with the most, more than any other industry. And there's been a lot of changes in the industry as of late. More and more people are going online and on social media to make decisions about financial advice. So if you're an accountant, financial planner, and financial services, mortgage broker, et cetera, this is the live for you. It is live, so drop in the comments and let us know where you're tuning in from. I'll bring some of the comments onto the screen here, and feel free to ask questions as we go. It's one of the beauties of doing lives, is we can make it as interactive as we like. And I'm going to go through some of the agenda now, and I'm just going to bring up these slides here so we can get cracking. But drop in the comments, say hello, introduce yourself, let me know where you're tuning in from. That'd be great. All right, let's get stuck into it. So for those of you that haven't come across me before, I've been in LinkedIn marketing for the past 10 years. I've had a couple of accolades, won Social Media Marketing Awards, Best Use of LinkedIn 2019 and 2020. But more importantly, we've generated over $500 million in client revenue for our clients through our LinkedIn lead generation systems. And LinkedIn content marketing has generated thousands and thousands of views for our clients, even with little experience in content in the past. I set it a goal very early on in my business, within the first year, to get on one of the top 4 banks in Australia as a client. So within 11 months, we signed up Westpac, which is one of the top 4 banks down here in Australia, worked with their licensees all across Australia. So what that looked like was running around the country, doing LinkedIn training seminars, and then working with the smaller businesses that were licensees to Westpac to help them generate leads and position themselves online. Now, since then, a lot has changed. We've worked with thousands of companies since then, and that's what I'm going to be talking through today. At the end of the webinar, I will be giving away a content planner. So stick around to the end if you would like a calendar on how to schedule your LinkedIn. There's some good exercises in there to work out what your content pillars are and work out a content schedule, which is very important. One of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't plan their content. It's really important if you want to be strategic to do so. So this is the agenda for today. We're going to start with the secret to viral LinkedIn post. We're going to really talk about go deep in content because there's a lot of opportunity at the moment. Most people aren't posting content, particularly video content. So if you do, you can position yourself very much so as an industry leader, an industry authority. How to double your engagement with one secret, one hack. How to position yourself as an industry leader fast. Now, ChatGPT, we're going to cover some of that stuff. I've been delving deep into that in the last few months. It's a hot topic at the moment. ChatGPT is artificial intelligence, where you can type in and ask questions. You can ask it to write content for you. You can ask it to write a LinkedIn profile for you. But there's a lot of mistakes that you can make, and I'm going to talk to you about how best to use ChatGPT in your LinkedIn content. How to batch create a month's worth of content in just a couple of hours. I think one of the most important things when it comes to creating content is being efficient with it, so it doesn't take up all day and you're not thinking of what to post every morning. And so we're going to talk about how you can create a whole month's worth of content, posting at least twice a week, just a couple of hours by batch creating your content. And then finally, the most exciting part of all, the 3-step strategy to generate over 100 leads per month without spending any money on advertising whatsoever. And I'll give you a couple of examples of clients we've worked with to do this. But first, let's look at the financial services industry. 75% of financial advisors use LinkedIn as part of their marketing strategy. And it may be higher than this. This statistic is a few years out of date. 44% of advisors have gained new clients through LinkedIn. So it is effective in terms of generating return on investment. And 77% of advisors have landed new clients with investable assets of over $1 million through LinkedIn. Some other interesting stats that I thought worth sharing. I did some more research yesterday as I was preparing for this. LinkedIn actually published a lot of statistics for the financial services industry, and there was a report that was for wealth managers and investment management companies. And some of the interesting statistics I wanted to share with you were 25% of retail investors are considering changing their financial advisor within the next 12 months. So, they're going to be looking online to do that. A lot of the wealth distribution has changed. A lot of younger people are generating or are in that high net worth category now, and they're much more tech savvy. LinkedIn users are twice as likely to want to learn or seek advice than members of other platforms. So LinkedIn is far more trusted as a source of advice when it comes to financial information than, say, the likes of Facebook, Instagram, or even YouTube. Google searches for how to invest are increasing all the time, 61% in the last year alone. So it just goes to show that people are going to the internet to find out information when it comes to making financial decisions. So when it comes to trusting the content, consumers who say they are not likely to see deceptive content on the platform, LinkedIn is by far the highest, then Pinterest, then Instagram, Twitter, then Facebook. So this is the platform that you want to be focusing on. Okay, and LinkedIn makes people receptive to financial content on LinkedIn. So when a survey was done asking people how valuable do you find the following content, at least somewhat valuable, insights from leaders and industry experts, LinkedIn, 71% of people, ways to improve my finances, LinkedIn, 66, and other platforms in the 40s. Okay, and then we want to talk about the type of people that are on LinkedIn as well. There's people have completed college more so than other platforms. They have advanced in their career in the past year. People are changing careers more often, and you can see that information on LinkedIn, and that has a lot to do with making financial decisions, and they're much more confident managing personal finances as well. Okay, more LinkedIn members currently own investment or insurance. When asked which of the following financial products or investments do you currently own, respondents replied higher for stocks, 401k, mutual funds, mortgages, IRA, bonds, money market accounts, EFTs, and health savings accounts are all higher on LinkedIn than other platforms. Okay, and these are the reasons. We want to be looking at the reasons before we start creating our content plan. We want to start looking at the reasons that people might be looking to change their financial advisor. 32% said they preferred working with someone else. So it's about establishing a relationship with these people who already have a thought in the back of their head that they would like to change their financial advisor, and they are actually looking for somebody else, another option. It could be a life event. Fees are too high, regulatory sanction, lack of competitive products or services, prefer to work with a competitor brand, so maybe they've got a brand in mind already. But all these, as we go through them, are all opportunities for a financial advisor to gain new clients on LinkedIn. So it's very important to understand. Okay, so let's step back a little bit and look at the overall market. People are getting more choices and they've got less time. So what that means is it's not enough just to go and interrupt people anymore. You've really got to be taking consideration. People have got less time and more choices. So they're just going to start to ignore stuff. So creating content for the sake of creating content is not good enough. There's enough content out there. What people are looking for is really valuable content. So what we're going to talk about today is how to actually create really valuable, snackable content that people can digest easily, digestible content that stands out from the competition. First thing we need to understand, even though financial services and business in general can be quite serious, and as a result, a lot of people made a mistake of making their content quite boring. It is a social media platform. LinkedIn is still a social media platform, and people interact with things that resonate with them on a personal level. And this is really the goal here, is to get people to engage with the content, not just consume it. So think about the fact that people interact with things that resonate with them on a personal level. So we want relatable content, something we're going to talk about today. There's two reasons why people tend to fail when it comes to content marketing. And this doesn't just apply to financial services, this is across the board. People are impatient. So building a brand does take time and it takes effort, and you need to be consistent. So what you need to be doing is looking at your content strategy at the beginning, it's valuable just to start looking at it as practice, because you're going to need to get your reps up in order to get good at this. So impatience is one that you need to be mindful of, and also being selfish. So the whole key with the content marketing strategy is to add value. Right. So you need to be unselfish. You need to be thinking of ways that you can add value, whether it's through entertainment, information, or through education or inspiration. There's 4 ways that you can add value. We're going to cover those in more detail shortly. So you've got 2 choices, really, and we need to make this choice before we delve much deeper. You can either be unfocused, or you can make the decision to be focused. And if you're unfocused, which most people are doing, by the way, when it comes to their online marketing, social media marketing in particular, they're reactive. They wake up in the morning and thinking, what should I post today? They're not in control. They're unsure about the future. They're always changing strategy. There's not much breathing room because they're always in a rush. And they're second guessing, surviving, and they procrastinate as well. I'm just going to remove this logo here. That's going to look a bit better. And if you're focused, you can be proactive, in control. You've got a long-term vision. You know what to say no to. You can be confident in making decisions, and you love taking action because you know where you're heading. And so I'd argue that you should all make the decision to be focused when it comes to your LinkedIn marketing strategy and social media marketing strategy overall. There's something called the mere exposure effect, which is a concept that I'd like you to understand before we delve into too much detail when it comes to content marketing. So the mere exposure effect is a psychological phenomenon by which people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. So if I use the example of, let's say you're you driving down the highway and you see 3 billboards that advertise Coca-Cola. All things being equal, just because you've been exposed to that brand, you're more likely to buy that brand because it's more familiar than, say, Pepsi, all things being equal. And so I look at social media as, how can I get exposures to my clients so I'm more familiar and therefore more trustworthy, and then there's more reason to buy from me. So when we're going back to the reasons that people change financial advisors before, if you are the one that has the mere exposure effect in play, you're the one that's more familiar through your content strategy on LinkedIn, then you're more likely to be the logical choice for them to inquire and say, hey, can we have a conversation about my financial planning, for example. In the old days, 5 exposures, 10 exposures would be enough. These days, you need more like 25 exposures before a customer is familiar enough with you to want to buy from you. So I always think about content marketing like, how can I get 25 exposures in front of my ideal client so that I'm more familiar, more trustworthy, and they're more likely to buy from me? And that's the way you want to be thinking about social media marketing. So there's 4 ways to add value, as I said before. This is one of the most powerful ways on LinkedIn. A lot of financial advisors and people in the business world don't think about this. This is an example of a post I did when I got to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, celebrating the win. It says, if you can't read it, it says, boom, 10K subscribers on YouTube. I used to be quiet about these wins, but I'm helping 10,000 people. Social media isn't about popularity. It's about adding value, and that needs to be celebrated. Thank you for all your support, legends. And I just wrote it on my whiteboard, 10K, and held up a glass of wine. 504 likes, 99 comments. People are attracted to momentum. And so if you can share wins like this in your business, it's going to attract people. This also generated several messages from people, wanting to know more, wanting to work with me. And you could do the same thing with birthdays in your business, or if you win awards or accolades, sharing the win. Try and do it in a way that doesn't look like you're boasting. So it's more about, I'm celebrating the fact that I'm helping these people. You can also do inspirational content about your clients. I'll give you an example. There was a company that came to me and said, hey, Nathaniel, we want to raise $1 million in 6 weeks. They were running a crowdfunding campaign for a startup that did e-bikes. And I was just part of the team. Like, they had Facebook ads and they were doing other stuff for a crowdfunding company as well. And, we managed to achieve that goal. And I actually posted a photo of us celebrating at the end and said, congratulations, we did it. we raised $1 million in 6 weeks. I thought these guys were crazy when it came to me, but we did it. And there's a picture of us all sharing a glass of champagne. Not all my posts have alcohol in them, but this one did. And what was interesting about that is I got over 40 private messages from companies that were doing capital raises, that were looking to LinkedIn as a source of leads to raise capital. They managed to get a newspaper article in the West Australian, I believe it was, from the post as well. So really want to hammer home that inspiration is a very powerful way for you to generate tangible results in business when it comes to LinkedIn. Education is another way that you can add value through content. And so think about some of the topics that might be applicable to financial services. And there's lots of options, and I'm going to show you how you can use ChatGPT to come up with educational topics. What are some of the questions that are on your customers' minds that you're used to answering that you can put in a digestible content form? These are some of the things. So I would think of this section as what are the questions? And then you reverse engineer that and make content about those questions and what are the pain points and things like that. So if you're educating and they learn something from you, then they're more likely to choose you as their advisor. Information. One of the big ways to hack attention online is by something called newsjacking. So you're looking for what stories are trending at the moment. So, for example, what LinkedIn introduced stories, must have been 2 or 3 years ago now. And it was news that I came across relatively easy. I'm in the industry, but not people in my audience aren't necessarily going to be on top of LinkedIn features. So I decided that I would create an article about 4 ways to grow your brand with LinkedIn stories. It's something relatively new, something that's happening, that's in the news. And then it got really good engagement. People saw me as an expert. I was a gatekeeper giving the information to my audience. And a lot of blogs and things linked back to this article as a source of information because there wasn't much out there at the time. So you can do the same thing with financial news, right? Especially with things like interest rates. Interest rates is a big one. A lot of people are uncertain about those sort of things. So think about the other things that are going on in your industry that you can be the gatekeeper of information to your audience. Entertainment is another way to add value. It may seem like not the first type of content that you would use to add value in financial services, but this is why it's so valuable. Because if you can add entertainment to your content, you will stand out from all the other financial advisors that are posting boring stuff. So think about how you can do that. I won't play this video, but this is an example of a Liam Neeson video that somebody made for their LinkedIn profile advertising themselves. It was quite funny. 283 likes, 107 comments. So either mix entertainment or funny posts into your content, or try and combine some of the ones I mentioned before, like education and entertainment. Try and make, if you can add a bit of entertainment to your content, it'll make a big difference to your results. We won't play this one. We'll keep going. All right, so get a content calendar. This is pretty straightforward. A content calendar doesn't have to be complicated. You can see here we've got a month laid out, and then it's just got on the different days when you want to post your content. So look, I tend to believe that Monday through Thursday is the best time to post content on LinkedIn. You can get away with posting twice a week. You don't want to post more than twice a day. That's the way the newsfeed's working at the moment. There was this interesting release from LinkedIn, which I'll just bring up on the screen with you now. Here we go. So this is a financial services marketing seasonal spend calendar. So like what you want to do is just take a couple of notes here. I'm going to share a few things with you specific to the financial services industry. This is directly from LinkedIn. I'll drop the link in the description of this video so that you guys can access it later. In fact, I can probably just put it in the chat here. That should come through to all of you if you want to use this resource. But it's basically broken down the months of the year and what sort of topics are hot topics during that time. And I'll just run through a few examples. So January, New Year, job trends, student loans, divorce, financial advice, paying dividends. February, spring pregnancy. So it's not just throwing these topics into different sections. This is all based on research. So we'll go through some of these slides here. So consumers who recently changed jobs are 61% more likely to still not have insurance. And January is the time when this is most popular. So in market, January to February, student loans, 55% of 16 to 17-year-old Americans youth are concerned that they will need loans or financial aid for college. And you just pick the topics that are applicable to you here. So divorce, financial advice. They're looking to switch their financial providers when they get divorced. This is in market January to February. Interesting, right? Paying dividends, spring pregnancies. New parents aged 20 to 29 are 25% more anxious about their financial situation than the general public in market February to March. So it's giving you these topics when people are actually searching for this information the most, right? So check that out. I can see the links come through in the YouTube comments and the Facebook comments. I'll post it in LinkedIn after the live. We're going live across all three platforms. So yeah. All right, back to the content here. All right. So if you've heard of a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V posts over 100 times a day on social media. He's got a team of about 20, and he has released something called the content model. And it's how he creates all of this content. And look, my clients and myself, we don't need to post 100 times a day, but we can learn something about efficiency and effectiveness from using this model. And what he does is he creates one piece of pillar content, which is a long form piece of content. So for example, with our clients, we have this service called Behind the Brand, and it's an interview that I conduct with the client, whether we do it on Zoom or in person. One interview with several questions that are designed to create engaging, snackable content. So each answer could be a 2-minute video. They might answer for 5 minutes, but what we do is edit it down into the most engaging parts. So there's not repeating yourself, so it doesn't lose retention when people start watching. And we create 20 short videos from one long interview, and that's enough to post twice a week for 3 months, right? So from the pillar content, and it could be a speech, it could be a podcast interview. There's lots of ways that you can do it. You create micro forms of content. You can even do this with written words. So you can create a longer article, which might be 1,500 words, for example, and then from that create short, engaging posts. So you're not creating just one piece of content. Every time you go to create a pillar content, it's turning into 20 to 40 pieces of content. This is a way that you can create a huge amount of content in a very short amount of time. So creating 30 days worth of content in a couple of hours is more than manageable. We actually create 3 months worth of content by just using an hour of a client's time with that Behind the Brand interview. And I'd like to thank Gary V for that strategy. All right, now we're going to talk about the hot topic that I'm sure everyone's looking forward to, which is ChatGPT. So what I've got on the screen here are some prompts that you can use to get ChatGPT to help you with your LinkedIn content. So if you don't know where to find ChatGPT, you go to chat.openai, and I believe it's .com, or search ChatGPT on Google. And what people are doing is throwing in there, and they're going, "Hey, create me a post about this." But what you're not giving ChatGPT enough information to do a valuable job. So, like some examples of prompts that you can use, you might want to jot these down or take a screenshot. Give me 10 ideas for LinkedIn posts for a insert role, serving insert the niche that you're targeting. And I'm going to show you what the output looks like shortly. What are 5 trending topics for the accounting industry, for financial services industry on LinkedIn, specifically on LinkedIn? Look for what's trending there. Generate 10 different angles for LinkedIn posts in order to share information about whatever topic is, student loans, tax advice, for example. Tell me 5 ideas for LinkedIn posts that can help me demonstrate my expertise in financial planning, for example, insert industry or topic, and provide valuable information to high net worth individuals, for example, right? Let's have a look at what the output could be like. So I've written here, give me 10 ideas for LinkedIn posts for a financial advisor serving high net worth investors, right? And it's given me 10 potential ideas. So share insights on a recent market trend and explain how it can impact high net worth individuals. Highlight the importance of diversification, discuss the pros and cons of different investment strategies, write a case study or story about a high net worth client you worked with, share common financial mistakes high net worth investors should avoid. This is a really good one. People always like to read about mistakes because they can relate to them more. They understand, they connect with the problem more than the solution. But if you can identify the mistakes that they're making, or the problem that you solve better than anyone else, they will automatically assume that you're the best person to have the solution. Very interesting point when it comes to social media marketing. And the list goes on. And then what you can do is you can take these and go, okay, I really like the one with the mistakes. So what are some of the mistakes that people make? And then you could ask ChatGPT to write you a post about that. And then you just want to edit it, like cut it down. You'll notice that a lot of my content, very short sentences, each paragraph is just one sentence. The reason I do that is make it really easy to digest on a mobile device. At this stage, when ChatGPT is putting together content, it's doing it in a way that is suitable for like a different form of like a book or like a white paper. It's not actually writing it in the right way for social media. And so until ChatGPT learns that doesn't work as well on social media, you're going to need to edit the content. It's not enough just to ask ChatGPT to write you a post because the sentences will be too long, be too much information. People won't read it. It won't be easy to read on a mobile device. So this is the way you want to use it. So, and a couple of other ideas. Hey, ChatGPT, create a content publishing calendar with 10 content ideas that cover interest rates, for example. Include the publishing date for the months of February and March. Tell me 10 interesting topics for a certain role should address on LinkedIn to create awareness of his services. Give me 20 content ideas for LinkedIn that a financial planner could use to promote his business. Tell me the top performing topics for financial planning on LinkedIn. And if you don't like what it spits out, you can say, give me another 5, or give me more. You can be more specific. So here's an example. Create a content publishing calendar with 10 content ideas that cover financial planning. Include the publishing date for the months of May 2023. And ChatGPT's going, here we go. So it said on the 2nd of May, post why financial planning is important for every stage of life. And it delves into a bit more detail about what you can talk about. And then on the 5th of May, how to create a budget that works for you. And so it's giving you these ideas. So you don't have to do all the legwork yourself. So it's a great tool at this stage to use for planning. So if you're stuck for ideas, go on ChatGPT. Here we go. Write a LinkedIn post on the 5 biggest mistakes high net worth investors should avoid when making financial decisions. Okay, so this is an example of the content that ChatGPT can push out. So as a financial advisor who works with high net worth individuals, I've seen firsthand the financial pitfalls that many wealth investors fall into. Here are 5 of the biggest mistakes that high net worth investors should avoid when making financial decisions. So I just break that up, right? I would break that up into 2 paragraphs so it's easier to read. Focusing too much on short-term gains, high net worth. Yeah. Again, I would break that up so each sentence is 1 paragraph. But that's good. I mean, well, that's written is great, and this is digestible content that adds a lot of value. These lists can take a lot of time to put together yourself. ChatGPT makes it very easy, and of course, put your own spin on it. Add your own swag to it. If you don't agree with some of the points, change them. But this can save you a lot of time. All right, now we're getting into the most exciting part, which is how we've generated over $500 million in sales, additional sales revenue from LinkedIn alone for our clients. And it all starts with targeting. So there's a 3-step process we use called find, connect, and engage. And so all of these steps are really important in generating the result. 3-step strategy. So find comes down to targeting the people that you want to service. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can filter by a lot of different fields on LinkedIn, even with a free account. Sales Navigator gives you a bit more flexibility, but look at some of the fields there. So you've got connections first, second, or third on the top right. So that means, are they first degree connections, people you're already connected to? Or second degree, which means they have mutual connections with you. Now you can think about it, like if you're going to be contacting somebody out of the blue, like a cold contact, they're less likely to respond to you than a first degree connection is already connected to you, or a second degree connection that have mutual connections. So that second degree is a great way to start, to connect, and then engage with people that are now become new connections, first degree connections. I love this strategy because it's free and it can generate a lot of return on investment very quickly. And then you can use the title. So, okay, so let's say we want to target CEOs, for example. So we put in the title CEOs, and then we want to go down to industry in the bottom in the middle there. What CEOs of what sort of companies, so you might want to target legal firms, or you might want to target accountants as referral partners, or you want us to target medical practices, for example, and the title might be director in that instance, dentist or surgeon. A lot of financial services companies we work with have targeted the medical industry. You can even go specific as location. So what city are they in? And if you have Sales Navigator, you can do things like company size and all that kind of thing as well. So it's important to use this because it'll use these fields in the specific areas of their LinkedIn profile, rather than if you just use the generic LinkedIn search, it's going to crawl their whole profile and show you, search results based on keywords rather than where they actually have them specifically within their profile. So an example, this is Maureen. Maureen's based in Singapore. And she said to me, "Oh, Nathaniel, it's a shame that you can't use LinkedIn for B2C. She sells Australian real estate in Singapore, and didn't think that LinkedIn could be used because it's more of a B2B platform. So what we decided to do is we'll target CEOs that are based in Singapore that actually went to university in Australia. So they've got some tie with Australia. They probably have a high income because they're a CEO and they're based in Singapore. And we contacted them and basically asked them to come to a property seminar. Within a few days, she doubled her network and already had 10 qualified leads. Let's delve a little bit deeper. So we sent out 500 invitations to connect. So it's very simple. Just, hey, I've noticed that you're based in Singapore. Would love to connect. 500 invitations. 277 of those people accepted that invitation. And they were all sent a message saying, hey, I'd like to invite you as my guest to this property seminar because I can see that you went to university in Australia. 42 people turned up, and this was over a course of 30 days. And Maureen's been using this strategy since to get people to property seminars, and it's generated a huge return for her. And its best part is it doesn't have to cost any money on advertising spend. So you can imagine how you could use something similar, find, connect, and engage in your business to generate leads for your business, whether it's with prospective clients or whether it's to find referral partners, which works effectively as well, get people to a seminar. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but this 3-step strategy has been the reason we've been able to generate such high returns for our clients over the past 10 years. Look, this is an example from a different industry. I just want to show you some more numbers. So this is the College for Adult Learning. So it's a higher education company. Within 30 days, generated 122 leads. So just to give you an idea of how the numbers work. So like in the healthcare industry, we sent 582 requests, 247 accepted. We didn't send messages to all of them. Some of them were the people that accepted, we decided not to follow up with. We only sent 206 messages to follow up. And that generated 49 leads. Food production, you can see the conversion rates, 505 requests, 195, so less people accepted. However, it did generate more leads because more people responded to the engagement message, which the engagement message basically said, hey, I've noticed that you're an HR manager in food production. I'd be interested in learning more about what you do, see if there's an opportunity for us to work together. Are you free for a call, let's say, over the next couple of weeks? And 61 people in food production said yes. And then there's a not-for-profit as well, which we only did 74 requests, but it still generated 12 leads. within 30 days. This particular client had to pause their campaign for 6 months so they could follow up all of these leads. They weren't used to such a huge influx of leads. Been advertising on Google AdWords, and LinkedIn was so much more targeted that they had a lot more business coming in from it. And so this is an example in the financial services industry. Ashwin is one of the advisors that worked in BT Financial Group, which is a subsidiary of Westpac. 24 leads in 30 days. Now, this was much more targeted financial planning consults. So, very specific with the type of strategy session that he was setting up. Target dentists, lawyers, mortgage brokers. Within 30 days, top 4% of most viewed LinkedIn profiles, 250 new relationships started on LinkedIn, 25 qualified leads already generated. So they're already booked in for a financial planning strategy session. More came after the first 30 days, but it's an incredible result for such a short time frame. And that brings us to the conclusion. I hope you got some value out of today's session on LinkedIn for financial services. I'm going to give you all a free LinkedIn strategy session that would normally cost $500. During this session, we will cover recommendations for your LinkedIn profile, what you can do to get more views on your LinkedIn profile, get it to convert better. We'll look at your LinkedIn strategy, and I'll give you some digestible tips that you can use to execute on that better. Look at your content. If you are posting content already, I'll give you some feedback on it, or if you're not, we can start coming up with some of the content pillars and a bit of a schedule for you. So look, you're going to get loads of value out of that strategy session. If you do want to talk further about how we can help a business like yours, then we can continue that conversation. But the 30-minute session is really designed just to add as much value as I can to you for free. And so that's on offer if you'd like to take that up. I will also be sharing the link to the content planner as promised in the comments. So check that out if you want. That'll be helpful for anyone that's looking to plan their content. Thanks very much for joining me today, and I'll see you on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching.